Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bree Farron from America 250 PA, and in honor of Veterans Day this week, I'm so happy to introduce retired U.S. Army Reserve Colonel and current Pennsylvania Treasurer, Stacy Garrity. Treasurer Garrity, thank you so much for sitting with me today. How are you?
I'm great, and thanks for having me, Bree.
Absolutely. So you have a very extensive background in the service. I was wondering can you share your beginnings and, where you're from, what made you get involved in the service?
Sure. So I'm from Bradford County. So that's the Northeast, very rural part of Pennsylvania. And I usually like to joke that we have more cows than people. But basically, I joined ROTC in the middle of my college career. My dad he said, I think you should think about joining the service. And I said, no, Dad, I don't think so. Because my parents were 20-year Navy reservists.
Oh, wow.
And so then one weekend he sort of surprised me with a recruiter. I signed up, ended up going to basic training, and the rest is history.
Wow, that's amazing. So I know that you had served, you were deployed 3 times and you earned quite a nickname. I was wondering if you can kind of just give a rundown of like what your role was in the service and your accomplishments.
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. First of all, I never dreamed that signing up would turn into a 30-year career. But really after 9/11, I just couldn't bring myself to get out. But when I was commissioned as a second lieutenant, I started off in the finance field, and then was always with the military police unit. So quickly changed my MOS from finance to military police. So I'm going to date myself, but my first deployment was in 1991, Desert Storm. So we did detention operations, and we had, gosh, at one time it was 40 to 50,000 detainees. And then again in 2003, 2004, and 2008 and 2009. So that was part of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. And both those deployments, I was at Camp Bucca, again, doing detention operations, which is in the southern Iraq. And I'll mention my last deployment was in 2008, 2009. I was the acting battalion commander. We had 7,000 detainees at that time, and I had 1,200 soldiers under my command. And in that deployment, we had 0 abuse allegations and 0 escape attempts. So pretty proud of that. So I hit my mandatory retirement date in June of 2016, or honestly, I would still be serving and I would not be your state treasurer because serving was the honor of my lifetime.
Absolutely. So how did you get into becoming treasurer? Was that sort of just right after service, you had an interest in pursuing that?
Well, it was nice to have a little break because, having 2 full-time careers in the private sector, I worked for 34 years at Global Tungsten and Potters, the world's largest tungsten smelter that's outside of China, of course. So after I retired, I knew I wanted to get back into service, and there are so many different ways to serve. So I did get approached about possibly running for treasurer, and I was a hard no for quite a while because, being from such a rural part of Pennsylvania, never running for anything, taking on a statewide race can be a little daunting. But, they really didn't find a candidate, and I thought, well, if not me, then who will do it? So I jumped in.
That's amazing. So, I'm sure over the course of your time in service, you've learned so much and, of course, have great experience. Can you share some of the lessons that you've learned during your time?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely can. Just that this is what I used to tell my soldiers that I was sending off to deploy. Nothing good happens between midnight and 4. And that don't do anything that you want your mother to find out about. Okay, and make sure that you can always look yourself in the mirror and never lower your standards, because once you lower your standards, it's so difficult to get them back up. But really just living the Army values 24/7. And of course, those are loyalty, duty, respect, service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. So that's so important to live that, just not when you're in uniform, but making that a part of your life.
Beyond being in service and being the treasurer, you're doing so much for Pennsylvania. And we're just wondering if you could share some of the things that not only you, but the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in general is doing to celebrate and honor veterans.
Yes, I would be happy to. So of course, the way I personally celebrated it was I marched in a parade yesterday in Luzerne County, and that was really fantastic. What at Treasury, we basically have reached out to all of our veterans, those who have served or are currently serving, and we're going to honor those folks. We also put out a video to all of Treasury, and we're putting out some social media.
That's great. Now, you had mentioned the parade. That's one thing I was actually going to ask you. Can you explain like the significance of that parade? And I know that you had received an award for it as well.
I did. So I was awarded the Outstanding Veteran Award, and this was as part of the Wyoming Valley Veterans Day Parade. And so, of course, I was very humbled and honored to receive it. And it occurred because I happened to meet Mayor George Brown when I was visiting Luzerne County Community College, and he heard about my background, and unbeknownst to me, he went back to his committee and nominated me for this award. And what makes it incredibly special is that Luzerne County is where I served 20 out of 30 years of my reserve career. And also I deployed all 3 times out of the Reserve Center in Ashley, Pennsylvania, which was just a few miles from the parade. And the other super cool thing was 2 great Americans presented the award to me. So Mayor George Brown, who was mayor of Wilkes-Barre, but also Colonel Charles Luce, who was the vice president of the parade. And he was actually my former commander when I was just a young lieutenant. And he is a veteran of Vietnam and Desert Storm. So it was almost like going home because I'd spent so much of my life in that county.
Oh yeah, that sounds very special. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
So going back to like Veterans Day, can you share like what does Veterans Day mean to you personally?
So for me, Veterans Day is a time where we get to pay respects for those who have served and sacrificed for our country, so for those who have served, those who are currently serving. And when you think about it, it's one of those few occasions as of late for that one day that we can stand united in respect for our veterans and their service and sacrifice to this great nation. And we have just about 800,000 veterans in Pennsylvania.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing and very well said as well. Now, kind of in line with that, one of the goals of our organization, America 250 PA, is to represent and celebrate every Pennsylvanian in every county. So I was wondering what your thoughts are, as we're leading up to the semi-quincentennial in 2026, how can we be sure to recognize and honor those who have served?
Well, what I'd like to say is everybody knows a veteran, right? So go talk to them, go ask them about their service, ask them to share their stories. Make sure you get out to a parade because it's nice to clap for those veterans, as they walk past and you look at, the folks that are marching from the American Legions and the VFW posts and the Reserve and the Guard.
Your team had mentioned a few like initiatives you're working on currently. Is there anything you'd like to share?
Yes, I would love to mention the military decorations and memorabilia that we have in our vault. So of course, Treasury has the largest working vault in the nation. It was built in 1939, just about $600,000, has 400 tons of steel, and just the front door alone is 60 tons. Now, when you get behind that door, you'll see military decorations. And to date, Treasury has returned about 524, 226 since I took office, including 2 Purple Hearts. So we have campaign medals, certificates, dog tags, Legions of Merit, Bronze Stars, Meritorious Service Medals, Army Achievement Medals, just about every campaign ribbon from every major conflict from every branch of service. And so as a veteran myself, returning these decorations either to the veteran or their family member is very near and dear to my heart.
Oh, well, thank you so much for the work that you're doing there. That's absolutely incredible. And I want to thank you altogether too, not only for your service, but also sharing your story with me today.
Thank you, Bree.
Okay.
For taking the time to interview me. I really appreciate it.
On behalf of America 250 PA, we'd like to thank all veterans and their families for their service. We greatly appreciate your courage and what you do for our country. To those who are interested in highlighting the efforts of a Pennsylvanian veteran, You can visit our website at america250pa.org and nominate them for our PA Proud Service Member Spotlight. And there are several other opportunities to get involved as well. So we encourage you to check out social media and stay engaged on our website as well. We encourage you to join us and become a part of history.